This is a CBC podcast.
Well, we might be glad for those temperatures of 9 degrees and light rain in the coming days, because this weekend it's going to be hot, like really, really, really hot. Temperatures in Prince George are forecast to get to the mid-30s. And Daybreak's Jennifer Norwell joins me now with more on this, as well as some tips to stay cool. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we've been talking about hot weather for much of the week. It's going to get substantially more hot. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening?
Absolutely. Well, right now there's some really interesting things that are happening with the timing and the length of heat that we're seeing. But I'm not a meteorologist, so I'm going to turn it over to Armel Castellan. He's a preparedness meteorologist with Environment Canada. Here, have a listen.
Is going to be one of those events that is unprecedented because it's really a late July pattern in June, right when the sun is at its highest angle in the sky, right, just a few days after solstice. We're talking about potential all-time record-breaking high temperatures, not just for the day that it's warm, but for all time at any time of year, which usually happens in July and early August. So you normally see not even one day above 35 degrees in June on an average year.
So as you can hear, what's happening coming up this weekend? Not typical.
And so what should people be thinking about when it comes to keeping cool and safe?
Well, I hear going to Prince Rupert's the main one. But your typical pieces of advice: stay hydrated, cover up, avoid going outside during the heat of the day. But you know what? I wanted to talk to some experts in hot weather. So I called up Bernie Fandrich. So he's the retired owner of Cumsheen Rafting Resort. That's based in Lytton. And he also heads up the local Chamber of Commerce in Lytton. So as you may know, Lytton consistently gets some of the hottest temperatures in the province, even sometimes in all of Canada. So right now, it holds the record for the hottest temperature ever recorded in the province during August, when they reached a staggering 41.8 degrees Celsius. So I figure if anyone knows about handling this kind of heat, it's someone like Bernie.
One of the things that makes that extreme heat more tolerable, of course, is we have very low humidity. As a general rule, we don't have, if we got 20-25% humidity when it's hot like that, so you don't feel the heat nearly as much as you would, say, in Vancouver or the Lower Mainland, anywhere there where the humidity level is much higher. So how we feel it is different than how other people close to the coast would feel those same temperatures. It's way easier to tolerate when there's a low humidity in the air. As the saying goes, enjoy it while it's there, and if it gets a little too hot, go in and pour yourself a gin and tonic.
So it might be a little bit early for that last suggestion, but he also
always
suggested
noon somewhere.
Exactly. He suggested people get out in the water, make sure they're getting lots to drink, especially something that's cold, that's going to cool your internal temperature down. And he did tell me he thinks most people in Lytton, they just endure those very, very hot temperatures because they like having the warm temperatures for the rest of the year.
Right. Of course, I'm not one of those people, but there certainly are people who love it when it gets really hot.
Yes. And you know what? I thought it would make sense to chat up with someone who really enjoys this heat. And I was thinking, well, who would do this? Where is it consistently like super hot, plus 40 temperatures? I thought, hot yoga studio. So I called up Kristen Beach. She's been teaching at the Kamloops Hot Yoga Studio for the last 4 years. She's originally from northern Manitoba, and she says she just loves the heat because it doesn't hurt in the way that extreme cold seems to. You just don't have to wear so many layers.
It gets your blood flow going. It gets your energy levels going. You have like a warmthness inside. And of course, in the summertime, it's a little bit hotter. And if it's hotter outside, it's definitely hotter in the hot room. So ways to like monitor or, make yourself feel better on the mat would be, hydration, take rest when you need, wear less clothing. And it just feels really good when you're, even if you're having a bad day and you step on the mat when it's hot, it just feels really great. There's nothing like, it's kind of like, when you hop into a hot tub, I feel the same sort of, energy sensation when I step into the hot room.
So I asked her about classes this weekend, and just to give some context, in Kamloops we're planning to get Well, if it goes according to forecast, it's going to be at least 40 degrees out. And yes, they are still planning on holding classes. So I can't imagine that. But she says there is a very certain kind of person that does want to come out. And in fact, she went to a class earlier this week when it was over 40 degrees in the hot room, and she enjoyed it. So it takes all types.
It takes all types. So for those who prefer cooler weather, I mentioned the fact that the Weather Network is suggesting people come visit Prince Rupert over this heat wave. But what are some other ways that people can cool down?
So I've got a few standbys that I always turn to. Near my house, there's a beautiful park that has a pool in it called Prince Charles Park in Kamloops. In fact, that's where I headed to when I wanted to get a few more tips about how to stay cool.
We were inside and outside quite a bit, just hanging out in the shade. And whenever the guys run out of gas, our two little guys, then we head back inside where it's a bit cooler.
Are there particular places that you like to go when it is reaching those very, very hot temperatures?
Yeah, into the river. And actually we're going for a canoe trip up on Myrtle Lake, so that should be nice. We're going to escape the heat.
I'm Reese, and I'm 5 years old, and I like to get in the water to get not hot.
Smart. So water's your favorite thing? Are there other tricks that you have to stay cold?
Well, yeah, popsicles and ice cream. My name is Chapa, and I'm 5, and my way of cooling off is going in the pool. I had a popular acre and cooling off in my basement.
I like to stay by the pool to stay cool and in the shade.
We'll head to the mall, and they got a great food court, shopping. But to be honest, we spend most of it outside. We don't get too hot, I find.
Oh boy, those kids know where it's at. In the pool with a popsicle. But Jen, more seriously, what are the main takeaways for this weekend?
Absolutely. I think the main thing is this kind of heat is nothing to be trifled with. So this is the kind of heat that can cause things like heat stroke and trips to the emergency room. So this is serious. So I'll turn it back to Armel Castellan from Environment Canada one more time.
It's not just about yourself, it's about your neighbors, your elderly neighbors, your friends that you might want to check up on. So not everybody is going to have the physical fortitude to withstand this. Maybe not everybody has a working air conditioning unit. Maybe somebody doesn't have access to air conditioning at all and could really use some. So it's about kind of the overall approach to everybody in society, not the individual. And also what epidemiology tells us is that earlier on, it's more of a shock, a thermal shock to the system, and therefore is going to be that much more impactful.
So you can flag that warning just as well for pets as people. So if you're going to have to go out, try to avoid going out between 10 and 3 in the afternoon. And as you've heard from a number of people throughout today, make sure you're getting enough to drink, you're seeking out shade, and making sure that you are protected from the sun.
Great advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And stay cool. That's Daybreak's Jennifer Norwell joining us this morning from Kamloops.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.